Good evening, viewer. Welcome to our Glory Globe TV. Here's a breaking news from Seoul. Yes, for a country with the world's lowest fertility rate, one that has spent hundreds of billions of dollars trying to encourage women to have more babies, the idea of banning children from places like cafes and restaurants might seem like counterproductive. But in South Korea, no kids zone have become remarkably popular in recent years. Hundreds have sprung up across the country, aimed largely at ensuring disturbance-free environments for the grown-ups. There are nearly 80 such zones on the holiday island of Jeju alone, according to a local think tank, and more than 400 in the rest of the country, according to activist group. Doubts, though, are beginning to creep in about the wisdom of restricting children from so many places, fueled by concern over the country's growing demographic problems. In addition to the world's lowest birth rate, South Korea has one of the world's fastest aging population that has left it with a problem familiar to growing nations across the world, namely how to fund the pensions and healthcare needs of a growing pool of returns on the tax income generated by a solely vanishing pool of workers. And South Korea's problem is more acute than most. Last year, its fertility rate dropped to a record low of 0.78%, not even half the 2.1 needed for a stable population and far below even that of Japan 1.3, currently the world's greatest nation, and even further below the United States, which at 1.6 faces aging problems of its own. With young South Koreans already facing pressures on multiple fronts, from sky-high real estate costs and long working weeks to rising economic anxiety, critics of the Jones say the last thing the country needs, yes, yet one more thing to make them think twice about starting a family. The government, they point out, should knows this better than anyone. After all, it spent more than 200 billion over the past 16 years trying to encourage more people to have children. Critics suggest that rather than throwing more money at the problem, it needs to work on changing society's attitudes towards the young. With polls suggesting a majority of South Koreans support no kids zone, shifting those mindsets won't be easy, but there are signs of opinions may be shifting. In recent weeks, a pushback against the zones has gained momentum thanks to Wong Hae-in, a mother and a lawmaker for the Basic Income Party, to and who, in a show of defiance to mark Children's Day, took her 2-year-old son to a meeting of the National Assembly whose and where babies are not usually allowed. Everyday life with children is not easy, she told the assembled lawmakers in an impassioned speech, during which she was pictured both cuddling her son and letting him wander around the podium. Our society must be reborn into one where children are included. That speech gained media coverage across the world, but it is not the only sign attitude may solely by changing. Jeju Island, a tourist hotspot of the southern tip of the Korean peninsula, recently debated the country's first ever bill aimed at making such zones illegal, though if passed, it would apply only to the island. Behind the report, Glory Globe TV, Delhi, India.